Welcome back, boys and girls, to the southern wing of the Stink Bug Works. For a few days, I am done with perk testing. What is this? Is this Friday? Yeah, this is Friday. I think I have some properties to look at next week, and there'll be testing coming up, so I'll be busy. But I must say, yeah, I'm spending a lot of time doing these perk tests, but the Dr. Jet Laboratories Endowment Fund is, quite frankly, it's looking better than it's looked in a long time. Anyway, a number of things to talk about. The first thing to talk about is the 2S challenge. Yes, it's still on. One of my viewers asked, hey, WTF? And it's like, oh, I need to be Pimp Daddy some more to pimp my challenge. Now, here's the thing. Other people get YouTube accounts to make money. I haven't seen a single penny from my account, and quite frankly, I'm really not interested in making a single penny from my account. I'm more interested in just sharing some of my passions with like-minded people. That's good enough for me. And in fact, my YouTube channel costs me money because I offer up these challenges and I give away stuff. That's okay. Remember, the endowment fund is doing okay, so I don't mind giving away stuff to people that will accept a challenge and build something. Now, I've offered up a couple of challenges. Some were to build little tiny boats, and others were to build a certain fabric. But I think if I can get somebody to build a 2S boat, now 2S is perfectly acceptable. This puppy's 2S. In it, you'll have something that, you'll like to run, that'll be fun to run. Plus, you'll win all kinds of cool prizes and be able to build even more boats. So, yes, the 2S challenge is on, and I'll go over it briefly. You need to build any boat you want. And it's whoever can do the fastest laps around 2 buoys 100 feet apart. And I've already gone over how you can set the buoys out. I don't want, surveyor's accuracy 1 in 10,000. I don't want those buoys set to the 100th of a foot. That's, you get them close to 100 feet, and that's good enough for the jet. Anyway, I got a couple of parts for this. One of my viewers was asking me, I was telling him how I'm going to mount this turn fin with another stud through here, and he wasn't quite clear. So let's talk about that for a moment. This is one of those readily available turn fins you can find everywhere. Everybody's got this thing. And I'm going to leave it here in the package. I'm not going to use it on here yet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the whole spacing on this turn fin exactly the same as on that turn fin. And that's the same thing I did on the Spirit of America, that I use this spacing. That way, if I ever wanted to use this fin, it would be a bolt-on. But here's the plan for the fin. I'll go over it one more time. I've talked about it before. Rather than screws going into the sponson where the battery lives and can hit those screws, I want nice rounded head screws going this way, so if the battery hits them, no bad things will happen. So I'll put studs in from the inside and put some epoxy, and we'll mount this. And when I get to the time, I'll show you how I do it. But I'm going to bolt one side down, snug it down, then get it perfectly 90 degrees, and then drill the other hole. Then, so this will be mounted here, and the question is, well, what do you do out here? And if you've ever looked at the modern full-size boats, they have a similar turn fin arrangement that it's mounted to the back of the sponson, but they also have a rod, and in this case, I'm going to use these 3mm threaded rods, and here's what I'm going to do. The portion of the rod that's up here on the turn fin, it'll have a nut on both sides. And then, once I establish the angle of dangle and get everything right, I will translate this hole over to somewhere over here, somewhere in here. That will go through, and that will be where it goes. And so, again, I'm going to put a nut on here. This time I'll use a nylock nut and put it on just enough so that the end of this, where it meets here, doesn't stick out to here and doesn't miss the fin. It's just enough to catch the fin and give me enough threads to bite down on it. So that will hold. Then I'll come in with epoxy, and I'll epoxy that nut and this stud into place, and this will just be here. That way, I'll have a nut on each side of this thing, and if I want to change the angle of dangle a little bit, I can loosen this nut and tighten that one, or I can loosen this one and tighten that one. So I'll have a little bit of play in the fin, and that's why I in fact put a nylon washer there that I can loosen this as I bend it and snug it down tight and let the nylon take up the angle. I can still get it tight without foobarring up any metal parts. So that's the plan for that. That's how the turn fin will eventually come to live on this boat. Now, I'm going through my boxes of larger size propellers, the 3/16 shaft. I don't have a whole lot of 3/16 shaft props. Most of mine are 1/8 or 4mm threaded. Although I do have 1 or 2 props that actually fit on a 3mm shaft. And let me digress for just a minute. If any of you know of a source for quality propellers, CNC or Arctura ABC quality, that have a 3mm bore, let me know, because I have a 3mm shaft and I can only find 1 prop, and it's not the right size prop I want. So if anybody has a hookup on 3mm prop shafts, let me know. So anyway, I'm looking at props for this, and eventually I'd like to run this. This is a 2137, I think. I got to put my more powerful glasses. Oh, you know what? Check this out. In my box of propellers, because I need it for propellers, I just happen to have a maggot frying glass. And this one is a 2137. So eventually I'd like to run this 2137. I like to run really high-pitched props, and I think this motor is torquey enough, and gearing it down, I'll have plenty of torque to turn this pitch. But this prop isn't always predictable. On some boats, it just cavitates, and so it's got to have a hydro, and it's got to be a really loose running hydro. And this one, I haven't done anything on the turn fins. We'll address that later. So I'd eventually like to run that. Right now, I put on an X637, so same diameter, little less pitch, one less blade. I think that'll be a good place to start. I have no real idea where to start with props on this because I am going where no man has gone before. Now, I ran numbers on FE Calc back when I had FE Calc, and it told me that with a 427 on the direct drive motor, and I think it was 2S, yeah, it was 427 on 2S direct drive motor, I'm looking at 90 amps or better. And so I'm just guessing here. We'll see what happens. The first run, I'm going to have to be real careful, make one or two passes, bring it in, check temperatures. All this talk about FE Calc, though, brings something to mind. And every time I hear it on the radio or something, I think about it and I forget to ask you guys. FE Calc was a spreadsheet, and you would put in motors here and batteries here and propellers here, and it would give you answers in speed, amps, efficiency, and the like. That was just a spreadsheet. It was an Excel spreadsheet. Now that AI, artificial intelligence, is out there, and AI can write term papers for you and do anything you want, is there anybody in my viewing audience that works with AI? Because I have a question for AI. And my question for AI is this. If I put this motor and this battery and this propeller in this boat, how many amps is it going to draw? How fast is it going to go? And what's going to be the efficiency? And as a bonus, what would be the optimum prop? And you could optimize props for speed, efficiency, and runtime. So AI may have the answers for us. Now I've got, some other props I'm looking at. I've got I think that's a 438. I think I got a couple of 438s. Oh, and I have a N, as in November, 940. Now, this prop has had some popularity. It's, the blade area is way reduced on it, and some people have had good luck with it. So I may try the N 940 on this. So there's a couple props I'll try. The rest of these are either too big or too big. So there you go, just a quick update. 2S challenge still on. Turn fin, waiting for the bolts. Propeller, we'll start here and see if I melt anything. AI, give me some answers. Until next time, boys and girls, jet out.